So, hey there, my name is Akshay and welcome back to GeeksforGeeks. And in today's video, you will learn about dates, views, and SQL injections. Okay, so these are the three topics that I'm going to cover in today's video. And welcome back to this course, guys. And we have already learned about many things in SQL, like how do we create a database, how do we create tables inside that database, and how do we manipulate the data inside those tables, right? So this much we have already covered in this course, and I hope you remember all the things that I taught you until now. Okay, so let me start with opening the MySQL command. Okay, so for that, uh, yeah, this is the MySQL command line, and password was root, right? So MySQL command line is now open, and here we run all the MySQL queries because it is very easy for us to recognize most of the commands inside running these commands in MySQL command line, and it takes a very less amount of time if you are trying to learn SQL. Okay, so that's why we are working on MySQL command line. Okay, and the database that we created was DFG, right? So I'm going to use that database and I'm going to show you all the tables. So this is the list of the tables that previously created inside this course only. And in each of these tables, I inserted a lot of data, like the integer kind of data. I've taught you about the different kinds of data types in SQL, right? So the data types were like character, integer, and double, float, right? All of these I already taught you. Okay, but the thing like if you are creating a orders table and you want to store the order date, so for that what kind of data type we use the date type, right? So that's what we are going to cover in today's lecture, and I'll explain you in detail what are MySQL dates. Okay, so yeah, as long as your data contains only the date portion, your queries will work as expected. However, if a time portion is involved, it gets more complicated. So that's a statement that if dates are present inside your table, then it's very easy for us to manipulate the data. But as we add time into that format, it becomes a little more complicated. So let me tell you what are the different types of date that we can uh, name inside our database, that we can define inside our database. So for that, okay, so there are these are the data types. Okay, so date data types are like, first one is date, obviously, and the second one is date time, and the third one is time stamp, and the fourth one is year. So these are the four data types that are present in MySQL to input the data type as date, or you can say the time. So let's talk about the first one, that is the date. So this date data type takes the input like wait. So date data type takes the input like this. Okay. Yeah. So this is the date standard date format for the date data type. And let's move on to the next one. And the next one is the date time, right? So date time represents the data in the form of in the form like this, like the date followed by hours, minute, and seconds. Okay. So this is the basic format of dates. Okay. Uh, then the next format is timestamp, and timestamp also follows the same format, but it saves the date and time of the time you presented the input, right? So if you want that the user wants the data of a particular time, like the form was submitted at this date and at this much time. Okay. So that thing can be stored using the timestamp. The fourth one is year, and as expected, it only takes the values like YY, or you, or the other format is this. Okay, so it's either you give the whole four digit year, or you can just give the last two digits. Like if you are talking about 2022, so you just have to give 22 over here. And if you are taking four digit one, then you have to specify 2022, right? So that is the basic format of year. Okay. So these are the four kinds of dates inside the SQL. Now let me try to create a database. Not a database. Let me try to create a table and show you one of these data types. Okay. So for that, let me create a table. So the table name will be uh, ordered date. Okay. And inside this table, I'll give three columns: order ID and okay, so the order ID should be of type integer, and it should have the auto increment property that we learned in the previous video, right? So order ID is auto increment, and then let's say its value starts from 5. Okay. And then the next column is product name, and product name should be of variable character, and its length should be 255. Okay. Then the next data type should be order date. That is our main column inside this table. And the format or the data type of this should be date. And I'll close this bracket, and wait, I have to specify the primary key as well. So after the order date, primary key, order ID. Okay. So we have also specified the primary key over here. Now I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create this table. It's line 2. So this is our table order date, and this is the first column. Let's just remove that and try to create this. Then after that, what is the second column? The second column name was product name, and the data type is varchar, and the length is 255. Let's just take it as 25 over here. Then the third one is the order date, and its data type should be date. And the fourth one is that we are providing primary key over here, right? So primary key is order ID, and as you can see, this table is now created, right? And let us show the description of this table. So for that, I use the desc command, order date, and this is our table. And as you can see, the auto implement property is applied over here, and the product name is varchar. Its length is 25, and this is the primary key. That is also true, right? So yeah, this is how we create the order date table. Okay. Now I'm gonna insert record inside this table. So insert into order date, and for the columns, I'll select product name and the product name. The other column is order date, and after that, I'll give values, and inside the values, I'll have to provide the input, right? So for the first one, I'll put the name as A, and let's say 2022, and 5, and the date should be what, 16. You also have to put it into quotes. Like it can run without quotes, but just to be on safe side, we are providing quotes over there. And this row is not inserted. So let me insert a few more records like this, and let's change date a little bit. Then after that, I'll insert the third record, and yeah, three rows are now inserted, and let me insert a fourth one. Okay. So four rows are now inserted, and let me show you the format in which it shows. Okay, select asterisk from order date, and as you can see, the format that I told you, that date follows this format, year, month, and day. So this format is also supported by Sql. Okay. Now, if I am trying to get a specific amount of data, like select asterisk from order date, where order date is equals to uh, 2022 and 516. So 516. There were two orders of this date, and yeah, as you can see inside the output, you can see that there are two rows which follows this condition, right? Okay. So let us try to create another table using the same command as previously, but this time what we are gonna do is uh, we are gonna add the date and time together. Okay. So this is the command, and then order ID auto implement product name, and then order date. So the format was date time, right? So date time we are providing over here, and after that you have to give the primary key. Okay. So this table is now also created, and let me show you the description of this table. So this is the description of this table, and as you can see, the type is date time. Now let me try to insert data inside this table by using the select command. So for that, uh, insert command. So these will remain the same, and I'll have to just go one over here, it change table name, and for the data I'll use this, and after that I can have to provide the timestamps. So it's 12, 15, and 30 seconds. Okay. So this is the timestamp that I want to insert, and as you can see, it is this row is now inserted, and yeah. Then for the time, uh, let's just print the same row again and change the time a little bit. Like it's 18 now. Okay, and yeah, let us insert this row. So there are two more rows inserted inside this database, and let's insert some more rows, and this one will be 15, should be 16. 16 means 4 p.m., right? So we are following the 24-hour format over here. And after that, let me just change the 14:30 over here. Okay. Then one more row I'm gonna insert, and we have inserted four more rows inside this table. Now let me show you the description of this table. Select uh, order date one. As you can see, this is the output of our table, and as you can see, the data type was date time, right? So it is representing the date as well as the time. Okay. And it is very simple to implement this data type. And in a similar way, you can also provide two more data types, that is the timestamp and the date uh, year as well. Okay, so these two are left, and this will be a homework that you will have to implement both of these things, and put your query in the comment section below in this video, so that I may know that you guys are understood this or not, and you should experiment this timestamp and year thing. Year is pretty simple. You just have to provide the year in the data type, and after that, while inserting the value, you just have to write the year like this or like this. And in a similar manner, if you are providing timestamp over there, then you have to provide it like this. Both of these data type, date time and timestamps are pretty similar, and you should try to implement this. And if you are not able to implement it, You can search for its document over the internet and you'll get the basic query or the basic syntax of using these data type. And that's how you can learn these two commands. Okay. So this will be your homework and I'll check the comment section of this video. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic of today's video. So the next topic of today's video is view statement. Okay. So MySQL view statements is a virtual table based on the result set of the SQL statement. Like we are using the select query like this, and if you want that, you don't have to write it again and again. Like there is a very complex query over there that has multiple conditions and you are selecting multiple columns over there and you don't want to write that query again and again. So what you can do is you can create a view of that table and you can simply print the output of that view whenever you want and you'll get the output of that view. Okay, you just have to provide the view name over there and that's how you use the views. So a view contains rows and columns just like the real table, and the field in a view are fields from one or more real tables inside the database. Like you can also use the SQL joins to provide inside the select query, and after using it, you can use it in your view, so that it will be very easy for you to get the data. Uh, yeah. So that is the SQL views. Okay. Now let me show you the basic syntax of SQL views. So the basic syntax of SQL view is creating a view is create view, view name, then as, then after that you have to give the select query. So select column one, column two, and similarly you can provide as many columns as you want. And after that you have to give from table name. Then after that you have to give where condition and you can put a semicolon at the end to end this query. And that's how we implement the views inside the SQL. So that's how we create a view and this is the basic syntax of creating a view. Now let us try to create some views from previously created tables. Okay. Now let me just check what tables we created by using the show tables command. So these were all the tables that we created and let us have a look at the customers table. So this is our customers table and I'll create a view over here. Okay. And what will be the thing inside that view? That I'll select the city Mexico DF from this whole table and for that let me create a view. Create view and the view's name is uh, customer Mexico. Okay. This is the name of the view and after that you have to give as, then after that you have to provide the select. So select asterisk from customer and after that you have to give the where condition. So in the where condition I'll give the country is equal to Mexico, right? So this is our basic query to create a view. Wait a minute. Select asterisk from customers. Let me just name the view as Mexico and after that I'll give the select query as select as from customers where entry is equal to next. Okay, wait, there is a problem over here and I'm not able to create the view for some reason. Let me just try to change it a little bit and so this view is now created and So you don't have to provide the angular brackets over here, or you can say the box brackets over here, because if you are trying to create a view, you, in this SQL command line, you don't have to provide the brackets. But in some cases, in some of the different IDs of MySQL, you have to provide the brackets in order to create a view. Now, let me show you how do we show the view. Okay, so for that, I'll use the select query, select aspect from. Uh, so this view from the table customers is can be printed using the query like just like the other table name that and this data depends upon the table customers, right? So if I try to update a little amount of data inside our customers table, so let me just try to update uh, customer set uh, postal code is equal to 5033, okay, 2033, let's say, and where terminal ID is equal to 2. Okay, so this is a query to update a certain record, and now this record is updated in the customers table, as you can see. Okay, now let's show you the view. So as you can see, it is also updated inside the view. Why is this happening? Because this is just a view and this is not a table. So it gets the record its records from the table name customers. Okay, that is the basic use of views, that you can quickly retrieve the data from the table, that I don't have to write these many long queries like select asterisk from customers where the country is Mexico. Now, if I provide more conditions like this, like if the where the country is Mexico and the customer name starts with A, and also the city name is this, and you can provide multiple queries over there, and you don't have to write that query again and again. You can just create a view, just like I've done over here, and after that, you can use that view for viewing it. Okay, so that's the basic usage of views. Now, yeah, there's another command over here. So for if you want to create or replace views inside SQL, for that the basic syntax is create or replace view, then the view name as, and then we have to give the select query. Okay. So this is the basic syntax of create or replace view. So let me try to implement it in our previous view. So the create or replace view Mexico, view names was Mexico, right? Mexico as select spectrum customer where uh, country is equal to Mexico and customer ID is equal to. So we have provided two conditions over here, and if I try to replace this old view, so now if I try to show you the view, what the Mexico view, okay. So it only shows a certain row because we have provided now two conditions over here, that the country is Mexico and the customer ID is two. Okay. So that's how we change the description of a view. Okay. So in this manner, you can update your previously created views, and you can also change the type of query inside that particular view. So now let me show you how to delete this view. So for that, the command is drop view, and the drop view, after that drop view you have to provide the view name. So the view name was Mexico, right? So this is now deleted, and if I try to show you the Mexico view, it does not show anything because Mexico does not exist. And that's how we delete the views inside this SQL. Okay. Now there is one more important topic that you have to learn in SQL, and this is the last topic of SQL. Now let me tell you about the SQL injections. Okay. So this is one of the most important topics in SQL, and it is a kind of phenomena that happens. Okay, so the SQL injection is a code injection technique that might destroy your database, and it is very risky for you to implement. Okay. So SQL injection is one of the most common web hacking techniques, and it is the placement of malicious code in SQL statements via the web page. So if you have created a form or something and you are trying to get the input inside this form by the user, and if the user inputs the SQL query, some kind of SQL query inside your text field or the text area that you are trying to get the input inside, then sometimes if you have not secured the database correctly, then it may cause you an error and your data can be leaked or hacked. Okay, so SQL injection usually occurs when you ask a user for the input like the username and user ID, and instead of the name, the user gives you an SQL statement that you will unknowingly run on your database, because database does not know that it is a SQL query, right? It is just taking the input. So accidentally, sometimes this can happen, and it can take your input as a SQL query. Okay, so sometimes, so it is very harmful for your database and your data can be leaked. So that's why you must implement some measures to protect your database from the SQL injection. So to protect a website from SQL injections, you can use SQL parameters. Okay, the SQL parameters are the values that are added to an SQL query to execute at execution time in a controlled manner. Okay, now the parameters are represented in the SQL statement by at the rate marker, and the SQL engine checks each parameter to ensure that it is a correct for this column and are tested and are treated literally and not a part of the SQL to be executed. And that's how you can save your database from the SQL injection. Okay. Now, that is it for the SQL injection part over here. And I was telling you about the modify command. Okay. So we were having an error in the modify command when we previously tried to run it. And let me just explain it to you that how do we use the modify command. Okay. Just wait a minute. So we were trying to update a certain column from a table, right? So let us try take the example of one more topic. This is left. It is a very short one. Uh, we were facing an error previously on this modify command in SQL, right? So I'm just quickly showing you the result of the modify command so that you may be able to get the data from the table and modify. Okay. So select aspects from the table name is custom. Okay. So this table is now wait. Asterisk from this is our customers table, and if I want to change the columns data type, like postal code given over here has a data type of what? Wait, let me show you. So it has a data type of integer, right? Now, if I try to change this data type, what will I do? I'll use the modify command. So for the modify command, I use alter table, and then you have to give the table name, right? So customer, and after that you have to give the modify and the column name. So the column name was postal code. Now let us try to change the data type to double, and the length should be let's say 40. Okay. Now wait, customer modify postal code, and let us change it to integer only, and let us change the length of this character. Like the conversion from integer to double was not possible, and that's why I just changed the length of this character. Okay, so this modify statement can be used to change the data type of a certain column if it is possible, like you can change the character to varchar, and you can change the length of the integers, or you can change the float to the double. But integer to float is not possible. Okay, and that's why this query showed an error. And that's how we use the modify command. And if you want to change the data inside a table, so for that, what command do you use? So for that, I'll use the alter table, uh, table link customers. And what I want to change is, I want to change postal code to code, and the data type should be integer and less than 30. So this change keyword is also used in the alter command to change the table's column name, and you can also change the data type over here. So let me just show you the table again. As you can see, the postal code is now changed to code, and the data type is also changed, that we provided the integer 30 over here. So that's why it is changed to integer 30. So these are the two commands that can be used to change the data type and the name of the columns. Now modify command is used to change the data type, and the change command is used to change the name as well as the data type of the particular column, and you can also provide the values over there. Okay, so this is the last topic of our course, and I think I've pretty much explained you each and every query in MySQL. And I'm really happy that this course is now completed, and you can successfully run any query of SQL. And if you are trying to switch from MySQL to SQL Live or something, so you can just check the syntax, and there's very little variation between those syntaxes, and you can just switch these to any other SQL IDs. Okay. Now let me just show you one thing at the end, and for that you can go to practice.geeksforgeeks.org, and you can search for courses over there. And over here you can just go to courses. Over here, you can search for any course that you want, that thing you want to learn. You can buy those courses from here, and these courses are really good and were prepared by professional mentors. Okay, and you can, if you want to buy these courses, you can buy these courses, and they'll have a proper chat section so that you may contact the person, and all of your queries will be solved. And yeah, these are really helpful for if you want to learn any kind of topic. Like if I want to learn the SQL, I can just search for SQL, and SQL Foundation self-paced course is available for it. And if you are having queries about SQL, even after learning from my videos, then you can just buy this course, and you can post your queries inside, ask your queries to them, and they'll answer it. Okay. And what you can do is you can post the questions that you have inside the chat section or the comment section below in any of our courses videos, and I'll personally reply to all of those comments, so that it may be easier for you to get the answers that you want. Okay, and I think that is it for this video, guys. And the next video we will be talking about how do we create a form and retrieve the form data using the SQL. Okay, so I think that is it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.